Hey guys, Life Through Lens here. Yet another episode of Vocal Box. This will be day two within the week that I'm running this whole streak. So I think for this episode, it's going to be more of a rant than it is like an actual discussion. I mean, I guess it could open a discussion, but I figured for this episode, I kind of want to shine light on like a stigma per se. I mean, this happens from time to time. Like, I don't know. I always feel it linger on a day to day basis, but sometimes people are more direct with it. And I know so far this approach to the topic is kind of weird, but what I'm kind of referring to is this whole stigma of, oh, younger people can't ever be tired. Younger people aren't able to get exhausted. Oh, you're young. It's like the moment a young person like me states, "Oh yeah, I'm tired," or "Oh yeah, I'm worn out," or "Oh, I kind of need a break," they're like, "What do you mean a break? You're young. You're young. You should have more energy than us. Oh, you can't get tired. Oh, stop it. You're young. You got plenty of energy." When it's like, I may have more energy than older people, and I may be able to kind of sustain and have a lot more persistence and resistance than older people. But that does not mean that I will never be able to be capped out. It doesn't mean that I can't get exhausted or that I can't get tired. Because the truth is, yeah, we really can. And as much as some people say it as a joke, I feel like some people say it in a very serious manner. Kind of like they would give a look of like, "You're young, quit crying. Quit crying. You have plenty of energy. You're not allowed to be tired. You can't be tired. That's a myth. That's a fable. Stop it. Stop lying." Like, here's kind of like a little message to older people. We can get tired. We can get exhausted. And although it's not right when you get tired and exhausted, trust me when I say this, we can get really tired and exhausted. As a prime example as to why this episode may be a little shorter than yesterday's and maybe tomorrow's, it's because, quite frankly, I'm tired. I'm exhausted. A part of me didn't really want to record. It didn't feel motivation to do so, but I'm pushing myself to do it anyway because I feel like this channel needs to see more light. So, had I not feel any type of motive or drive to do this, I probably would have just done what I've done in the past and just said, it can be another day. I'm too tired for it. Like, I am quite frankly, also, sorry if you see me like picking at my face and shit. I got out the shower. I don't know if it's like a hair or whatever the case may be. So, I don't know. And plus, sometimes I look down and I'm like, what is that? And I like start scratching away at it or I start rubbing it off. That's how my brain functions. But yeah, it's like we can get tired. We can get exhausted. See, there I go again. Where the I can't tell if that's on my eyelash or if that's on my top lip. It looks like it's just some like I can't tell what it was, but I think I got it off. But nope, there it is again. I think it is my eyelash. It's like shining at me. I don't know. I'm gonna try to ignore it. Let me try that again. I'm gonna try to ignore it for this whole episode. Otherwise, you're gonna constantly see me like mess with my face and such. It happens on a day to day basis. That's just how I function. If I see something, I try to do something about it. But yeah, to not veer off the main topic, yeah, it's like, I don't know. As much as I can kind of laugh it off, for those that make a serious point out of it, it's like, why? Why are you serious about it? Why do you think it's a myth? Why do you think it's some fictional thing that us younger people can get exhausted? Like, I am a very hard working man, and it's like I also don't like this whole stigma of like, oh, the younger generation don't understand hard work. Oh, they just don't want to get out there in the field. It's like, yes, we do. Although I'm not going to discredit that statement completely because there is a lot of young people that don't want to work. Truth is, there's still a handful that do. There's a lot of us that are still progressively looking for a job. Like almost on a day-to-day basis, we're trying to send in applications, we're trying to apply to places, we're trying to reach to interviews, but ever so rarely do we actually get that interview that we're seeking for. It's a rarity that we get that interview, but once we do, we try to cherish it, and we try to like make sure we get there on time, sharp, right on the dime, as best as possible, because of how rare it is for us to score a job. Like right now, I'm trying to find a second job, yeah? It's fairly difficult to find a second job. I'll say this like first and foremost. It's really difficult to find a second job. Like for a hot minute, jobs like I will say this, around holiday season it does kind of open up a little bit, but it also kind of varies as to what part of the season. But it's like the second summer hits and the second like spring break hits or whatever, or I guess yeah, summer would be more relevant. It really is like a first come first serve. And sometimes places just will outright be like, "No, we don't need you," despite literally having an advert saying need new employees or need new hires, or employees wanted, applicants wanted. Like in this day and age, all it takes is for you to appear a certain way. Like you can look like me, right? You can look like me, and if the job does not like that, if the job does not feel satisfied with that, like let's say it can even be retail, right? If that retail job does not like how my hair is or does not like my clothing choice, they can literally look at you and be like, "Yeah, we'll talk about it later." And then maybe a day to like a week later, you get an email stating that as much as they appreciate you applying and as much as they appreciate your time coming in for an interview, they're going to reject you. Like that's how it is in this day and age. Us younger people can get tired. We can get exhausted because even with jobs that pay the bare minimum, we're paying an arm and a leg for. Like right now for the job I'm working, like for current day, for like our economy and such, our financial state, it's not enough to get me out there in the world. I will be honest, I cannot afford a studio apartment. I just barely can afford a studio apartment in this day and age, especially for the locations I'm looking at. And although some people may say, "Oh, well maybe you just got to look in other places. Maybe you got to find places that offer less." The places that offer less are less ideal. There is no proper job surrounding that place. Either that or it's just not an ideal environment. Like I don't want something nice and fancy. I just want something simple, a simple studio apartment. And I don't know how it is in other states, but in the state that I'm in, having a simple studio is like 1,000 plus per month, on top of an additional $500 security fee. For what most of us make on average, we do not make enough to sustain that. And if we can sustain it, we're sacrificing something else. We're having to completely ration or budget whatever we can get a hold of as far as groceries. We have to be really, really simple about our clothing choices. I think all in all within this episode, the message is we can get tired. We can get exhausted. But we also don't appreciate the fact that a lot of you older folk frown upon us and completely act condescending, saying that we don't understand hard work when we quite literally do. There's some of us out there right now, some people that are of my age that are doing blue collar jobs. Or jobs that quite literally put their lives on the line just to make do. We do want to work. And when we get the chance to, We work as hard as possible. No matter how many tears spill out of us, no matter how much blood may spill or may drop from us, no matter how much sweat can come off of us and make us lose a bunch of weight, no matter what, the second we get that job, we try to work as hard as possible to keep that job and to get as much money as we can. Us as a younger generation, dare I even say, may have it harder than past generations. By no means is that to discredit any hardship of past generations. But when you look at how it has been within the past few decades compared to just this decade alone, it is difficult. It is extremely difficult. It's hard for us to obtain a car. It's hard for us to obtain a home. Some of us only make enough to just barely make it around and get groceries. Because then once we do get a home, that tacks on a bunch of other bills. Some of us that can get a home are either making the money so they can pay off the bill for that month, or they're making the money so they can pay groceries and then at hopes sweet talk their way into extending that period to pay the bill, or possibly breaking it up into sums to eventually pay that monthly bill in full. That's how it is these days. The money that we are making currently, yeah, maybe the money we're making currently made a whole ton for you in the past. But that is also when we weren't in an economic crisis. That was when times were actually a little more smooth with the occasional hardship. Right now, it's a constant hardship. Very constant. The same money that you made back then that is still applying to us in this day and age will not get us by the same way it did for you. Yeah, you guys were able to manage to get a car and then on top of that get a townhome or a house or a 1 to 2 bedroom apartment back then. Yeah, that was possible in your time, but that's when it was doable. That's when it was at a proper equilibrium between a cost and a pay. Now, the cost of something is anywhere but equal to what we're being paid. Some of us that are making 20 plus aren't even making enough. That's how it is in this day and age. No matter how many raises, no matter how many pay increases, that's our current economic state. And sure, this video is not going to do anything to change the older generation's mind on us. But it's to get a point across that we want to work hard. And when we do work hard, we do eventually get worn out. So when we say we are worn out and we are tired and we are exhausted, you best believe we have earned that opportunity, that right to say that. We have earned that. I don't know. That's been something that's sat on my mind. Yeah, I can get it when it comes to joking because it's yeah, it's someone that is more young and sprung. They might run circles around you. So it may come as a shock when, the younger one isn't doing so much. So you crack a little joke, But it's to those that take that serious, it's why? Why are you taking it serious? Why does it have to be a comparison battle? Why does it have to be an argument anytime someone younger than you says they're tired? Yeah, they're tired because they've done the same job, if not something similar or more difficult. They've done similar, and in some cases, harder jobs than you. Why are you trying to compare? If you understand it makes you tired, then can't you put yourself in their shoes for just a solid minute and understand that them doing that or them even going above and beyond with that job can also be draining. Like, why does it have to be such a comparison battle? Why is it going to have to be, oh, but you guys wouldn't understand because when I was your age, I did this, that, and the third. It's like, okay, you did that and the third. So what? So what? And where has that gotten you? That does not give you the right to scold the younger generation. Because if your time within that age was any similar to theirs, then you should be more understanding, not scolding. If anything, you should be irritated at the fact that that same job that you've worked, that they're doing, is exhausting them, and it's not doing much for them. You should be irritated at the fact that, yeah, it's not giving them leverage. It's not giving them an advantage at life. For the amount I'm getting paid for this job that would have been debatably low to middle class years ago is now classified as low. Flat out. I'm classified as broke. And that's the sad reality sometimes within this whole country. We are in a state of emergency financially. Before I proceed to ramble about political stuff and whatever, let me close this off and conclude this way. We are tired. We're exhausted. But no matter how tired and exhausted we are, we're always hungry to work. Always. And some of us have been bouncing from job to job, trying to make do. We're taking any job we can get, even if it's not ideal. There's some of us that are now on our third or fourth job, maybe even fifth, that still aren't satisfied. But we're making do. We're doing as best as possible. So before you say, oh, this younger generation doesn't understand struggle, or oh, this younger generation doesn't understand what it means to be tired, just step back and think for a second. Think. And if you work next to them, for sure think it out before saying your sentence. And then see if you truly understand what you're saying. If you enjoyed this episode, or if you found it to be thought-provoking, or if you found it to be kind of similar to how you're feeling, make sure to leave a like. And by all means, the comment section is open for discussion on this topic. Whether you're young, whether you're old, whether you're somewhere in between. My comment section is open to that discussion on it. And if you are new here, be sure to subscribe. Be sure to click the notification bell. That way you don't miss an episode, especially on this whole streak or marathon or whatever it may have you. Because for all we know, this week might be a very interesting week for this channel. This could be the most diverse and variety-packed week for content of this channel. This is Life Through Lens, signing off.